In?
No, jury's in.
Okay, so the jury's in.
We need televised.
So what they'll do, I mean, what they typically do is the foreman hands it to the clerk then hands it to the judge reviews it.
Diddy standing up. All right, all jurors enter.
Okay, here we go.
Standing.
Judgment time. Here we go.
He's been 6 to 12.
I still need 3 more stories.
This is like 8 stories.
We're going to be delayed on getting the show ready.
I will delay myself for this.
Judge, we have received your note. Juror number 5, have you reached a verdict? We have. Is it unanimous? It is. Please provide the verdict to the deputy.
In a hush. I know.
They've reached a unanimous verdict.
So what, he handed it to the deputy hands it to the judge is reviewing the verdict. I'm not sure whether he's going to ask the foreman to read it or
The foreman will now read the verdict.
There you go. Here we go.
Oh my God.
This is it.
What we've all been waiting.
Will that automatically refresh?
This automatically refreshed, and I think they're going faster than this keeps crashing because there's so many people.
You're doing both?
I'll keep an eye on CNN. Can you keep an eye on Intercity? Reading the verdict. Is Brian outside?
Brian's outside.
He might be able to even
Jacob's in. Do you have Brian on Zoom?
Jacob, he might be able to hear cheers. Or
Is Brian hearing anything?
And be able to tell us quicker
Outside the
than.
court.
I know, but there might.
You know what I mean? Okay. No, please. Okay, the deputy ruling prior to the verdict. In the matter of U.S. versus Combs, count 1, not guilty. Sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura, not guilty. Transportation of prostitution, guilty. So count 1 and 2, not guilty.
Wow.
Mann Act, guilty.
Wow.
All right, so that's sex trafficking, no. Count 1, no. Count 3, yes. Mann Act, Cassie.
And
now we have
count
Jane.
3 is Mann Act Cassie.
Correct. Now we have Jane for the sex trafficking and the Mann Act left.
No.
Oh my God.
If they say yes on Jane,
If they said not guilty for Cassie, then
It's just going to be the Mann Acts.
we got to see what they're doing. What did they say on 1?
Not guilty.
Guilty on Rico.
Racketeering,
So
not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty on Rico.
It's only the man.
Sex trafficking of Cassie, not guilty. Transportation of prostitution for Cassie, guilty. So now we just have Jane sex trafficking and sorry I'm yelling. Jane sex trafficking and Jane Mann Act.
Sex trafficking, not guilty. Transportation of prostitution, Jane, guilty.
Wow, so 2 of the Mann Acts. 2 Mann Acts and that's it.
Up to 20.
20 years.
But you know what? But that may be concurrent, and the prosecution.
Well, it's 2 separate acts. It wouldn't be.
This is a.
Oh my
Even
God.
though he's found guilty, huge. This is a loss for
big
prosecutors.
Yeah.
I mean, their whole point was Diddy was a racketeer who forced them into sex. The jury said no.
This is the entire case now is just a simple prostitution case.
It's a prostitution case,
It's a
which is
A prostitution case that he faces up to 20 years for.
No, we got that, but just the fact you brought it across state lines is the only thing different than.
And by the way,
I agree. It was the easiest count, and this is a loss for the.
Oh my God.
they never.
People do every single day.
If this were just a Mann Act, they never would have prosecuted him.
It's a huge win for Diddy.
They prosecuted him on racketeering and on sex trafficking, and they lost.
But I think the judge will throw the book at him on the 2 counts. Because that's all they got him on, and he's been depicted as so monstrous during this trial that the judge in sentencing, he did, but they found him guilty on the Mann Act. I think he might give him.
Well, and by the way, by finding him guilty on the Mann Act, they could have technically found him guilty on racketeering, but they didn't.
You're not
Well, no,
shocked
because you
about
needed
this?
sex trafficking also.
Right.
No, because you could have 2 separate things.
No, but they have to be 2 different predicate acts.
Right, but the predicate acts for the Mann Act were still 2 different crimes.
I think that should be 2
No, it's one
separate,
crime, 2 separate
2 types of
Right.
predicate acts.
Yeah.
Not 2 Mann acts.
Exactly.
I think you had to.
There were plenty of things the jury could have found. They decided.
They did it.
How?
Well,
How?
presumably not kid cutting, not kidnapping.
Well, not 2 of them.
Because if they
only
would have
Mann
found a second, they could have found him guilty on racketeering.
acts. Only found Mann acts, and they didn't have enough for Rico.
Wow!
How?
Wow!
Expect
Wow!
that? That's
I mean,
not.
How did you listen to that Cassie testimony and come
And
to
not,
that?
Wow.
not anything.
So here's, I mean, they said
because
it's
what?
an 11-year
Because it was 11 years.
relationship.
It doesn't
And
matter.
because there were times where she said she wanted to.
Yes,
was
but they
into
were
the-
instructed.
I
The
know.
time she
There were
said yes
times
didn't
when she
negate
said
the time she
no.
said no.
Yo, my bad. My mic was off. Let me say that shit again, man. Y'all on Twitch, bro. Y'all ain't even typing, bro. We got like 30 people on Twitch, man. Fuck with your boy, man. It's cool, man. Get to know me. I don't bite, you know what I'm saying? You type, I type back, I answer your shit, you know. Your shit'll be on the screen, all that. YouTube, what's happening? We on every platform. YouTube, Instagram, Kick, X, Twitch, TikTok, Rumble. Loso the big Uno, man. I am the biggest. That nigga Diddy done got convicted on 2 out of the 5. He beat the Rico, but I think them 2 charges he got convicted on hold like 20, 30 years or some shit. I don't know. He might get out when he's 70, 75. Let's listen, though. Let's listen, man. Don't forget to like, sub, all this. Subscribe. Bro, on Twitch, bro. What's up, man? The chatter, bro. Hit me up in the chat, gang. Hit me up, man. Johnny hit me up from Kick, bro. Hit me up, gang.
And Cassie said yes. Said not only said yes, but said they requested.
But then that's jury nullification of the times that
But
they
hold
said
on.
no.
What about the Kid Cudi case?
They don't believe it was him.
They don't. They just don't
proved
believe.
it was him.
I know. What about the kidnapping of Capricorn?
She got destroyed on cross.
No,
So
they
what
said
I'm
she was
saying
taken
is
home every
they
day. It wasn't
couldn't-
kidnapping.
They just couldn't. They didn't believe that because had they believed it, there would have been 2 acts. But
Not to question jurors about their deliberations. Jurors, you can contact your chambers. You gave up a lot these 10 weeks. It's inspiring. You worked together, rain or shine. You answered the call of public service. That should give us hope.
okay, I'm going to just say something now. It's great that the judge advised them, and if they want to take the judge's advice, that's fine. But the judge cannot stop the media from going to this jury and asking them questions that, you know, I'm sorry. The judge can say that. I ask the media, why? I mean, why? The jury is excused. The media, any juror can say no, but there should be no problem with the media, anybody in the media, approaching an excused juror and saying, could we talk to you? And if they say no, fine. But I'm sorry. I've heard enough of judges saying to the media, don't talk. Why? Why? The jurors can say no if they want.
Fair point.
So I'm sorry about that. That's just wrong.
So let's go get him.
Well, we're gonna try, and everybody else is gonna try. Everybody wants to know, especially now. Especially now. I mean, look, Diddy got convicted on 2 serious felony counts that could land him in prison. I don't think he's going to get the maximum. He's a first-time offender, and you have to look at the overlay here, which is they found him not guilty on the main counts that caused the prosecutors to file this case in the first place. So I don't think he's going to get anywhere near the maximum. But whichever way you look at it, whether he spends 5 years in prison, which will...
Hey, Harvey, Agnifilo just said Diddy should be released to the judge.
Until sentencing.
Until sentencing.
Well, that's interesting because they don't believe he was a...
Why? The analysis hasn't changed on his danger.
Yes, it has. It has. So he was found not guilty, Derek. He was found not guilty. If he were guilty of coercion or force or racketeering, yes, he should be held without bail.
Society is not at risk from somebody who just simply sleeps with prostitutes. It's just not
That's
a
not what
risk.
he's guilty of. I'm sleeping with
No,
He's guilty. He's guilty of putting one on a plane going from one state to another.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
And
he's been convicted
it's
of it.
illegal,
It's not
but
a
it's not a
dangerous
risk. It's not a risk where you keep somebody in pending appeal.
So how much jail time are we looking at?
I don't know. We don't know.
It's 10 years per.
So, hold on, guys. This is huge. That the judge is going to have to make a decision now on bail.
That's a bail question. You're asking for
This is, guys, this is huge. Whether if the judge,
it's huge.
So what? He would just be out until the sentence.
yeah, he could be out pending sentencing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's a fair ask. I don't know that he'll let
That
him.
would be a hell of a last freak off.
This is going to show the judge's
Okay,
feelings on his
Agnifilo is making
dangerousness.
the argument about.
Man, all this forgetting doing freak offs, bro. Damn, dude, you should have went on, chilled out, gang. That's crazy.
You can't.
How he should be released.
You cannot.
The analysis is whether he'll
The
be.
same thing that he was saying at the bail.
The jury said no.
He's not convicted of a crime that would you typically hold over somebody.
He's in Maui. He does not have access to his plane. This is his first conviction, and it is a prostitution offense. He should be released.
Yeah, I mean that's a compelling. That is a compelling argument.
They would never hold over somebody just on a
On the Mann
prostitution-
Act, they would
on a
never.
prostitution offense.
They would never.
But it's not the same analysis as the verdict. It just isn't. It's an analysis of
He was
dangerousness and flight
found
risk.
not guilty.
He is found. No, he is found.
So he was found not guilty of the Rico, but the Freako got him though. Trafficking of Cassie not guilty. But transporting to engage in prostitution with Cassie, he guilty. Count 4. Trafficking of Jane. We think that's 50 Cent baby mom. I don't know, Jane though. They say that's 50's BM. He was charged not guilty. What the fuck? What the other piece said? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Alright, yeah, he was charged guilty. He was charged not guilty of sex trafficking her, but he was charged guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. Like, that nigga on the conspiracy, a goddamn freaking house, bro. That's crazy, bro. It's crazy work, man. Nigga 50 said that. Look at this nigga 50. He gonna get 20 years. Y'all don't trip. Like, bro, why you even gonna say that, guy? Why you say that, guy? Trip, man.
We are not going to. This judge is out of bounds. He's out of bounds.
I agree.
He can ask.
No, he can totally request. And if the jurors want to abide by it, that's fine. That's their right. Come on.
Yeah, he's going to talk to the jurors.
Ignore what the judge said. Yeah.
I told him several times. Talk to the jurors. That one done.
Right. And everybody else is going to try to get and which is not even the point. The point is that the judge cannot advise the media. Come on.
Harvey, I just was hitting up by our prosecutor, our sex crime prosecutor, Kirsten, who you've spoken with. Fed sentencing is different, but usually, since it's two separate victims, more likely consecutive sentences, up to 20 years, defense will most likely certainly argue to a concurrent.
They're proposing $1 million bond.
And travel.
Damn, then they saying he might get $1 million bond and shit. Like, what?
to Florida.
Person found guilty.
The government
He wants to be able to go to Florida, New York.
Can I
and
tell
LA.
you something? The government got its ass kicked here. They got their ass kicked. They never would have filed a Mann Act case against him. This case was filed because of Cassie's lawsuit, and the DA. And remember, the U.S. attorney gets up and he talks about baby oil and Astroglide and all this other stuff. The jury bought Agnifalo's argument that this was, ooh, you got Astroglide off the street.
They lost.
They lost. This was a huge loss.
Just a game, right? Diddy.
Well, it was a game.
But Diddy did some monstrous things.
Yes.
You can't fault the prosecution. And the prosecution.
Now Diddy did some monstrous things, man. Diddy went out with Diddy.
Domestic violence case.
The can only charge the fucking
case, it's Salt Jane. You're in New York preparing to have drugs and was ready to
That's not the analysis.
Is he right?
We're saying about
and that would be reasonable danger. That is he a different analysis?
No, I mean, what you could say hypothetically is he beat Cassie to old white. He's a violent man. But
the preponderance of the
bail, the judge,
We keep going to Intercontinental in 2016. June 2024, a year ago, he beat Jane to a pulp.
That's
He was doing stuff.
I understand. And
we're going to, I think,
Tell me how the case with jail is after we plan here the day.
Is there no bail on demand? And he's asking the prosecutor, do you have a case that allows me to hold somebody without bail pending sentencing based on that?
Probably then interactive, but that's not the answer. It's never happened. Apply the standard of someone ending sentencing. Is person a first? Is separate from conviction and your indictment.
I totally agree with you. You can independently analyze that, right? Is he in danger? Well, a big part of his danger is what is the crime for which he's been convicted? He hasn't been convicted of the other side.
Another part, though, is he even rebut his dangerous tendencies? No, in that case, even though they didn't convict, he never rebutted that he beat the crap out of. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but he can take that into account.
The fact that the judge is honing in and saying, do I even have authority to hold him without bail based on manic convictions, that's what he asked us.
Right, no,
if you're the judge and he wants to hold him, it's a good question to ask. Like, has it ever happened? I want to be overturned.
Can I tell you what's just in my head? So we talked about this in the office for months, that Cassie had an 11-year relationship, and she seemed down with it, at least on paper, on text, with her words for a lot of it, and then there's parts where she said she wasn't. And, when I heard this testimony, because I remember when Cassie testified that we were flying back from France, and this was on direct, the prosecution was asking questions. I was flying back from France, and Diddy came up to my seat, showed me the freak-off video, and said, I'm going to release it. I may release it, or threaten to release it. And I remember thinking, okay, but unless you do what? And she didn't say, and it really struck me. And then we talked about that, and then on redirect, the prosecutor asks the question, and then she asks. Because she would have said that at the beginning. At the beginning.
I remember we talked about the time.
And it always stuck in my head. And I always thought there was an issue because of consent.
Yeah.
And then I heard it was when they came back after an hour and they said, there's one guy who's just not following the law. It just made me think it had to be 11 guilty. Yeah. But it may have been 11 not.
Well, I think
it looks that way.
Well, not 11.
No. They came in and said, a juror will not follow the instructions. After the first hour.